Peace be upon you, dear brothers and sisters. I hope you are well. Throughout history, there have been instances where people rebelled against colonial regimes, injustices, and oppressive rulers. In the past, it was relatively clear who the oppressors and the oppressed were. However, in today's world, lies and treachery have become so widespread that distinguishing right from wrong has become challenging. Recently, a podcast featuring Joe Rogan and George Roger Waters, a musician and singer-songwriter, has gone viral. In the podcast, they discuss the plight of the Palestinian people. Waters claimed that the Jewish state is planning a new intifada movement to erase Palestinians.
There's no political consequences for saying that, though. That's part of the problem. You can say that, and there's zero political consequences. But if you do talk about the Palestinian people and their rights and the plight of the Palestinians, then you are connected to Hamas. And then all of a sudden you're connected to this terrorist organization, and it doesn't matter about those people.
Yeah.
It's just that the narrative is support of Israel equals you're on the right side.
Yeah.
Yeah, regardless of how their policies impact individual human beings through no fault of their own, just happen to be born Palestinian and been stuck in this apartheid state.
Yep.
And that's the other thing is that they, it's very binary in that way. It's like you're either with Israel or you're with Hamas.
Yep.
You're with this terrorist organization that puts its people in danger purposely and uses them as cannon fodder so that they can gain support internationally and does all these human rights atrocities and launches missiles at Israel.
Well, yeah, I know. I hear all of this just the same as you do.
But they're just human beings.
Well, they're also the democratically elected government of Gaza, Hamas, okay? And there is an armed wing and whatever. But if you actually read international law at all, or the Geneva Conventions, an occupied people have an absolute legal and moral right to resist the occupation. And this is a fact that is not bandied about when they talk about firing rockets into Israel, which almost never do any damage because they're very ineffectual. But it's and then another thing that is a great worry to the Palestinian community is that the Israelis seem now to have a policy of pushing them, murdering so many of them that they are absolutely trying to create another intifada so they can make it an armed conflict where they're 1,000 times, 10,000 times more powerful than the Palestinian people, who they are hoping will arm themselves, and the young people gather together in bands and try and have an insurrection, an armed insurrection, so they can just kill them all.
When you say that Hamas is the democratically elected leaders of Palestine, how corrupt...
I didn't say of Palestine, I said of Gaza.
Excuse me, of Gaza.
Yeah.
How corrupt is that election?
I've no idea. I wasn't there, but it was in 2011, I think,
right.
Was the... Has there been an election since then? I don't know how you would organise anything in Gaza, which is a prison.
Right.
It's got borders. The Israelis control who comes in and goes out. They opened fire on Palestinian fishing boats again yesterday. So I can't really answer that question because I'm not there and I don't know.
Does anybody have a clear path of resolution that makes sense for that area where they could sit down and come up with some sort of humane, logical, compassionate way to mitigate some of these problems?
Does anyone? Yeah, I do.
What is yours?
You do. You give equal human rights to people, but you would have to stop the occupation and stop one group of people oppressing another group of people. You would have to accept the principles of Paris 1948. And everything would develop from that. Then you could have a process. You could all get on a plane and go to Oslo and have meetings. They did that once before, but nobody stood by anything that was agreed in Oslo. It was just a delaying process to consolidate the occupation of Palestine, i.e. the settlement building, the private roads, all of that stuff. But but you would need the will. You would need the will of the Israeli government, and then it could move forward.
Regarding the existence of Israel, Waters pointed out the historical context of Europeans taking over the land and displacing its inhabitants. Joe Rogan acknowledged the oppression faced by Palestinians simply because they are born as Palestinians. Waters mentioned the past intifada and the ongoing resistance. He highlighted that some see these resistance movements as a strategy by the occupying nation to take control of more Palestinian land. The meaning of intifada is uprising, and the first intifada or Palestinian resistance has already taken place between 1987 and 1993, which resulted in the establishment of Israel as it is now. The second intifada that took place in 2000 has also resulted in heavy casualties on the Palestinian side. And as we see in the news, the third intifada or resistance movement is underway, which was the actual strategy of the occupying nation, so that they could take control of the rest of the Palestine as well, and fulfill the dream of creating a greater Israel. In these challenging times, many Islamic nations show support for Palestine, while the rest of the world grapples with these complex issues. Roger Waters is one of the few voices trying to apply logic and reason to the current state of the world. We hope that more people like him will emerge to provide a balanced perspective.
حسبتم أن تدخلوا الجنة ولما يأتكم مثل الذين خلوا من قبلكم مستهم البأساء والضراء وزلزلوا حتى يقول الرسول والذين آمنوا معه متى نصر الله ألا إن نصر الله قريب.
May Allah help our Muslim brothers and sisters during these difficult times. Ameen. That's all for today, brothers and sisters. We hope you liked the video. Please share your thoughts in the comments section below, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with your family and friends.